Hello my dear miniature friends, this is Flo from TITUS Painting. This time we want to show you an avatar of Cegorach, which is a converted Necron Catan shard and basically an avatar for an Eldar Harlequins army. Juan did the conversion, so I hand over the word to him here. I'll be back later to talk a little bit about the painting process and some background thoughts. See you later.
This is a very simple conversion because I never liked how the original avatar of the bloody-handed god looked. It looked more like a pug to me, like an Eldar pug, than a huge hero. So the Deceiver from the Necron army was a much better fit to my Harlequins. My Harlequin army, well, my mask, which I call the Mask of the Last Jest. The conversion parts are basically the sword, which I formed by hand out of plastic card. I added a couple of bits from the Harlequin sprue, the masks at the hilt, a joyful and a rageful one, and the hilt of the sword is a spear from the Saur's warrior sprue. So pretty simple. The only art direction that I gave Florian was that I asked for the mask, or the face, better said, to be quite white, like pale, and that under the eyes there should be red bands, so as if the person, or in this case the avatar, would be weeping blood into broad lines. In addition to that came the wish of a mysterious sword, a sword of ghosts, a ghostly sword that he made beautifully with those freehand details.
So, let's talk a little bit about the painting process. To be honest, I had no clear idea in mind how to paint this guy, except from the input Juan gave me. So I didn't know how I wanted him to look. My idea was just to have fun and slap some colors on. I started with the parts I was certain about how they should look like. So I painted the skin tones in light grey and white colors. Then I added violet to his scarf. I struggled a bit with the blade. At first I painted it pink, which I didn't like. Then I tried black and white squares, which are very common for Eldar Harlequins. Well, that looked kinda strange, so I painted a shining rift onto the squares, but even the third try looked weird. So I decided to ask Juan what he imagines. This was the moment when the idea of a ghost blade was born. I reprimed the blade white and started with the base color of Vallejo jade green and white. The inner parts were highlighted with more white, the outer parts were darkened with a mix of jade green and black. A short Google image search later, I had an idea of the rough outlines of a human skull, so I painted them on. Because I wanted the blade to shine, there needed to be a connection between the colors of the blade and the upper body parts. So I added some jade greenish washes to the body. This made the skin come more to life. There was no real focus on the model, so I darkened the scarf's lower parts with brownish and bluish tones to draw the attention to the upper body and the face in particular. The rift on his forehead was painted with warm reddish and orange colors, so we get a warm-cold contrast here, which increases the attention on the head. But this focus isn't the only one. There's also a second focus on the base. This is because I used these colorful violet tufts. In my opinion, the second focus is a question of taste. If this model was just a single one to put into a showcase, I probably would have not used the violet flowers. But since the piece is part of a whole army, which already uses these tufts on its bases, we decided to put them on, to build up a coherency which makes the collection come together. Although I declared the model as finished, I like to take a look in retrospect and ask myself what I'd do differently if I painted the model again. The self-criticism is an important part of the learning process. Firstly, I would add more depth into the blade by varying the sizes of the skulls. If there's a big skull in the middle, surrounded by smaller ones, it would look like the skulls are flying towards the viewer, which would have been cool. Secondly, I normally don't care too much about smooth transitions, but especially some body parts could have deserved more attention. Smoother transitions would also help to draw the attention to the upper body parts. Thirdly, his six-pack seems a bit too flat. By adding some lighter colors into the vertical line in the middle, we could build up some volume so the model would appear more vivid. But as I already mentioned, I won't go back to the piece. It's like a snapshot for me and there's always something to improve. It's a never-ending story. I prefer to make my piece with imperfection and get back to the lessons I learned in my future projects. I hope you had fun watching this video. If you want to support the channel, I'd be very happy if you would subscribe, ring the bell and give a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye bye.